What's up, folks? Thanks for tuning in yet again. Another episode of Eat 'em Up, and this jumps to the top of my list as far as favorite episodes. I can tell you that for free. Gus Jaimes from Torch Tattoo in Anaheim. He, of course, as you all know, created the Dia de Muertos Anaheim Ducks jersey that was just crush it. Was an absolute hit. Part of that whole jersey making was there's a segment right here on our very own Duck Stream. So that was definitely fun tuning into that one. And everyone knows Gus at this point. He's tattooed at the first two Legacy Nights, Legacy Night number 1, Legacy Night number 2, of course, and is set to tat yet again, Legacy Night number 3, and I couldn't be more excited. Gus, thanks for hopping on the show and getting me blasted here on an episode. So tell us first off on the Legacy Night number 1, who did you tattoo? It was a fan, and who did you who did he get tattooed?
Yeah, so I actually got to tattoo, his name's Brandon. He gets tattooed at the shop regularly. So when I got asked to do this whole situation, I thought about people, I thought about clients, like who could I get to tattoo? I've already done a lot of Ducks tattoos on a lot of my clients. So, didn't have too many to pick from, but I remember Brandon coming in, and we always talk hockey every time he comes in. So I just asked him, and he was in shock at first, and then was like, I'm so down. Anything you need. Tell me what you need. I'm down.
That is awesome. And then what did he get? What did he get, and where did he get it?
So I got to do, since he was celebrating the first decade at Legacy Night, we did the Mighty Ducks logo, and he got it on his thigh, and it worked out perfect. He got a great view of the game while getting tattooed at Honda Center.
That's so epic. And for me, it was a non-negotiable. Like, you don't have to ask the higher-ups if a day like today is possible. You see that in front of 20,000 fans at Honda Center, one of the bigger nights of the year. There's no asking the higher-ups. Just like, no, we're doing that right in the Kariya studio. And here Gus is doing just that. So jump into Legacy Night number 2. That was the Kariya... That was the Solani tattoo, correct?
Yeah, Solani, yep.
Yeah, Timu, and then there was an autograph, Timu's autograph on that one too, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, so the guy tattooed James, he already had a Timu portrait of him tattooed on his leg, and we got Timu to sign the bottom of his leg, and we tattooed that plus like an 8 logo that I made for him. So he actually got 2 during that game.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I look, this is something special, getting blasted right here in the Kariya studio, but I need to maybe put this Gus, would you come to the booth while me and Steve are broadcasting the game? Is that what we're doing next, you think?
Oh my God, yes.
I think that's just what we're gonna have to do, because you know what, watching a Ducks game, calling a Ducks game up in the booth is just something that we're saying it, and we don't lie here on Eat 'em Up. We follow through with our promises, so I think that's next, Gus. And then Legacy Night number 3, Gus, what should we expect?
You know what? It's still kind of, we got a couple things in the works. Some really good ideas. I'd be stoked to do any of them. So we'll see, but it's going to be a fun one for sure.
Okay.
I think it'll be the most, I don't want to say the most fun because they're all fun, but maybe the most creative one yet.
Cool. We all know that you had the opportunity to link up with former Ducks defenseman Josh Manson, and so I think most fans out there are pretty familiar with that. Tell us a little bit about just you becoming a Ducks fan, growing up in Anaheim, how you got into tattoos.
Yeah, so I grew up in Anaheim. Had a couple cousins who were into hockey, and I remember going over to their house one time, and they were playing, and I had no idea what it was. So they kind of roughly told me about it. We watched a couple hockey games. I kind of went home that night, wanted to watch the next hockey game I could, got into I got to see, I don't remember the game exactly, but I know it was the Rangers. Watched them play, fell in love with the goalies, loved Mike Richter. And that's kind of my introduction to hockey. The following year was when, the Ducks actually came about as a team. So once I knew we were going to get a team, I was stoked and just like, all right, this is my team now. And followed them since, I was 7 years old. Played hockey as a kid. Me and my brother both played. Yeah, and then just grew up going to games. I remember going to Ducks games, Bullfrog games, like anything Anaheim related I was in. And then once I got a job and, started driving, that was like, I'm going to every Ducks game I can. I'm going to travel for it. And just kind of fell in love with like the culture, the community. It's been great ever since.
That's awesome. And how did you get into tattooing?
Tattooing, I kind of just started getting tattooed myself. I actually remember going to a couple shops and wanting to specifically get hockey tattoos. And at the time, tattooing wasn't as custom as it is now, where now you can walk in, tell someone what you want, and they'll just draw it up for you. Back then, it was still a little more like you pick it off the wall, but they don't mind changing a couple things. I remember going into a shop asking for a hockey tattoo, and the guy was just like, I've never done one before, so I don't think I could help you. And then as I started getting tattooed, I wanted to learn. I fell in love with like just the tradition about tattooing and, like the apprenticeship aspect and the history of it. So once I decided I wanted to be a tattooer, I also decided I'm going to start doing stuff that I love. And that, includes like everything from hockey, coffee, music, whatever. But hockey was just like a big staple in my life. So I wanted to make sure I got to do hockey designs and just kind of hope that maybe there was someone else out there that wanted them as well. And luckily it's gone well.
That's pretty epic. I think for me, so much of tattooing is stories. Just love listening to artists, how they got into tattooing. So that's one of my favorite parts about this whole thing. And we're moving on. Happy storyline. So part of being blasted here, a little bit of pain involved, right? A little bit of pain. So just with that pain, some things that have happened recently in hockey, it just makes me a little happy, and that's what I need right now. With this pain, need to be a little bit happy. And how about this? Nothing can make me more happy than the Kings tanking right now. 2, 8, and 5 in the month of January. There's just so many problems, starting with the biggest one in Pierre-Luc Dubois. Look, this is, I called it at the start of the season, Dubois signing that 8x8 when he didn't deserve it. He had 63 points right around there were his career highs, and that's just not a sum in which you get rewarded with an $8 million contract. We all know when Ryan Getzlaf signed his big 8x8 ticket, he was at the top of the league and doing what he was doing. I know the cap has raised, of course, since then. That was one of the bigger contracts. Now we're creeping up in the 10 plus, 11, 12, Poppy, 14, so on and so forth. So things are certainly changing, but it's 2, 5, and 3 in the last 10. They're on a 4-game losing streak, and I couldn't be more excited about hearing that in regards to our rivals, very close to us. And we dropped that Black Friday game to them here at Honda Center. I'm still bitter about it, and a couple things that are making me happier. A, I'm getting blasted right now by Gus Jaimes from Torch Tattoos. That's the first reason why I'm ecstatic. And of course, Kings tanking once again, 4-game skid. You just love to see it. Let's look a little bit more in depth of maybe why that's happening. If you look at just their scoring prowess to start the season, and I'm just going to name some games here, some mid-October. Look, you get a 7-3 win at Minnesota Wild. You have a 6-3 win versus the Coyotes, 5-4 at Arizona. I'm just going down the list here. You beat the Leafs in Toronto 4-1. These are all scores. You're scoring at a at a high rate. Saturday, November 18th versus the Blues. They're at Crypto, beat them 5-1. These are just big scores, and they were doing it often early on in the season. Where has the offense been? You look at some of these losses here recently. Just last game, 4-3 OT loss. You got a 5-1 loss. I mean, you're getting blown out in some of these games. 5-3 loss to the Sabres the game before that. And you're just not scoring enough. 2-1 versus the Rangers. Or, well, they won that game, but still no scoring. You look at the prior losses right before that game. January 18th, lose to the Predators. You only score 1 goal in that game. You score 1 goal the game prior to that versus the Stars. And Stars are no joke, but this was a contender here, this Kings team, or what looked to be early on in the season. Still 4 or 5 games over 500, so they're still doing fine in that aspect, but calls for McClellan to be fired. He's a darn good coach. I got to give credit where credit's due. Early on, they were stretching their plays out. They were quick with their passing. They were playing an overwhelming game, but I got to say, when you're paying Dubois that kind of contract, everyone's got to be looking in that dressing room over to Dubois. It's like, what? Like, how is that possible? You're making 2 times more than I am, and you're just you're not getting it done. And just that's kind of the energy at times when a guy's not pulling his weight. He's been a third-line guy for most of the season. And if you're Trevor Moore, just playing out of your mind, and I know he got recently rewarded with a contract, but it's like, God, this guy's making twice what I'm making, and I'm making twice the impact. It's that kind of stuff wears on a team. There's repercussions when it comes to signing guys and them not pulling their weight. You look at Byfield; he's starting to pop off. He has been since the start of the season. He's really turning things around, but. Yeah, to be paying a guy $8 million and he's not in your top 6, he hasn't been all year. It is dead weight, and McClellan has voiced that. And this is a team in which they have Stanley Cup winners from when they won it still on this roster. You look at a Lewis, you look at, of course, Kopitar. You look at a Doughty. These guys have won cups, know how to win when they did, and they look at Dubois, and it's just like, that's just not how you win. You don't show up for a period and then you sleep. You take a snooze for the next 40 minutes, and that's what Dubois is. So I called it at the start of the season. Look, you lost an Iafallo who could have played 1 through 3. He was mostly a top line guy, being paired with Kopitar, filled that role in well, but you could put him anywhere in that top 9. And he was an effective player. Of course, Velarde had his fair share of health issues and the inability to stay healthy. But, he is certainly doing great things with that Winnipeg Jets team. So, look, they flat out lost that trade, and now what are you going to do for the next 7 seasons here with Dubois? I don't have an answer for you. I really don't, nor do I feel bad for that whole organization and nor Dubois. I think I don't know. I don't know. It's for me. It's tough to say if it's ever been there. It certainly hasn't been $8 million there. He's had some stretches of good play throughout his young career, but look, they're paying the price. I've always liked a Gavrikov. I think he's always smooth. He's not going to be a point getter, but he plays quick, and he's just a big body in the back end that can skate well. So I still like a lot of pieces with this Kings team, but like I just mentioned, I just do not feel bad one bit for where they're at and where they're headed. They still have the pieces to, make a little push here. But I just, it's going to be interesting to see here this next little bit. That's one reason why I'm getting a little bit happy, just as far as pain, trying to subside this pain, getting a tattoo. Hey, you know what? King's tanking. That'll do it right there. That'll make me forget about this pain. San Jose, anytime you can take a jab at a divisional rival, you just do it. San Jose's been in the dumps for quite some time. I love Duclair. He's my boy. He really is. He's given it all each and every game. I tell you what, when Couture came back, we saw it firsthand, the difference maker he can be, and it seemed like Hurdle's game jumped as well. But I just there's no end in sight there. That's going to be a process in which I don't see it getting better. And here's the tough part for San Jose too. What do you have in your depth pool as far as rookies, organizational prospects? Not a whole lot there. So that could be a 4 or 5 year kind of dilemma they got going up north there. But once again, divisional rivals. They had some seriously talented hockey clubs there right around the time that we were good. The Ducks, we kind of both simultaneously had some big time teams there, and it was always fun going up there in the SAP Center playing those Sharks when the fans were loud. And the fans at that SAP Center, they sit right over you. Like those bleachers go right up, and when it is a packed barn, it is loud, and it is just fun to be a part of. But no, we don't feel bad the situation that they're in, and you know, they don't feel bad for what's going on here. It's divisional rivals. That's sports. We're just not friends, and we'll leave it at that. Jets, WTF, the Winnipeg Jets, which it will go down as one of my worst predictions. This Washington Capitals team, which was my other predictions, they were looking fine there to start. And when I say predictions, the biggest jump in points from last year to this year, I picked the Washington Capitals. Just didn't understand why they finished so low. Seem to be playing fine and maybe even exceeding expectations, but they're dropping their ice one game and then they're hot the next. So it's going to be interesting how they finish for the rest of the regular season. But that whole Eastern Conference is just scary. There's not many teams below 500 there, and it is just deep, talented, hard-nosed East Coast hockey. A lot of skill, a lot of grit, and just it's fun to watch, not fun to play against. But going back to the Winnipeg Jets dropping their last 3, I picked the Winnipeg Jets. Terrible call where we stand right now with them as the biggest drop in points. I didn't know. I mean, of course they had Hellebuck, but it seemed like they did really good for what they had last year. Velarde, who would have thought that he's kind of producing at the rate he is? They certainly did. Good on them. But they're a fast team. Good goalie. So good goalie, solid D. You got Morrissey on the back end, who is just so talented. And I don't anticipate this skid lasting for very long. I think they're going to get back at it. I mean, the last 3 games, dropped a few to Toronto. You know, just you can get outskilled by Toronto as they just did. I mean, and that just happens. Overwhelming we saw the Anaheim Ducks fans, what Toronto did to us in that Honda Center tilt. And even though the score was an overtime win by them, low scoring hockey game, Dostwall stands on his head and just has a game for the ages there. They dominated. They had the possession game down, and they were just swarming us and cutting back and just making us dizzy. So Jets, I'm happy because my prediction for only 3 games is looking good. So I got to just try to get in there and I don't know, stop the bleeding when it comes to my terrible prediction. I don't anticipate them that skid lasting for very long. I think they're going to get back to making quick plays, doing the damage they can certainly do. And how about this? This makes all of us happy, and including me, as I'm getting blasted right now. A Ducks win. Ducks in mini for Hockey Day, Minnesota, taking them down by a score of 3-2, and it's just a complete 60-minute hockey game. It was just a win that it was a feel-good win. Ducks came prepared, and it was a win in which was needed. After that, somewhat successful, and although the Ducks went 2-3 on that last East Coast swing, I thought for the most part it was successful in a sense. Is that identity for the Ducks was being created. You could see it, the finishing ability, especially in that Florida game. We were on it, and just going back to this last game here in Mini. It was a game in which the guys that needed to show up showed up, and you just need that in order to be successful. Troy Terry had 2 tucks in the game. He is now scoring at the rate that we all remembered him to be scoring at, which is great. Ryan Strome, just a guy you love cheering on because he's always upbeat, and he's just he's a great guy, and he is back to playing great hockey, and all it really needed, hey, being bumped back up to that first line, nice tip. That's you just want those kind of goals, right? You get a tip goal, it's like, okay, that's breaks are going to come my way when you get a tip goal, and that's what he got. It was a big time goal. It was the game tying goal, setting the Ducks up to come home with it. And Troy Terry did just that. Troy Terry, going back to his play, he's not only making things happen each puck touch, he's not forcing plays, trying to beat one on twos, 1-on-3s, maybe as we saw a little bit earlier in the year throughout the neutral zone. Of course, he was always getting off the wall, attacking that open ice there, but he would try to go through 2-3 guys, but now he's trying to carry that puck on those entries, keep it on the outside, delaying when he needs to be, and everything's just coming together. And his in-tight finishing ability right now is at an all-time high, and he just needs to continue to do that. Hopefully Leo can be rewarded just a lot more than he has been. His play has been so solid. He continues to make plays. This last game, a few games here, even on the East Coast swing, it's like, my gosh, how is he making so many plays and not getting 2-3 points a game? And so you just hope that he starts to get rewarded a little bit more, because his play certainly hasn't subsided. And, that's just what makes me happy right now. Kings struggling, San Jose struggling, and the Ducks winning. Those are the 3 things that are really subsiding this tattoo pain. And let's get into some messages. We have a different setup here in the Kariya studio. So Steph I'm not going to toss these ones up to Steph. I'm just going to go ahead and read them. Eats, you have the best ink. Our man Z has some fresh stuff. Sagan, Ben, Eric Carlson, and Max Domi stand out. Who is your favorite? What was your first? J Money out. J Money, we appreciate you. Thanks for the message. Well, I'm going to go ahead and rattle it off. All the players that he just mentioned. Let's have at it, starting with our boy, Trevor Zegras. Yeah, Z does have some nice tats. They're nicely done. That's most important. You're young, have a lot of money. It's just, oh my God, where's the first tattoo shop that comes up on Yelp? That's just kind of sometimes how these things happen. Certainly happened for me that way. Just if I had a little bit more patience, I wouldn't have regretted my first tattoo, which I have to mention. It's part of our these messages here. I gotta unfortunately disclose my first tattoo, which is still embarrassing. But yeah, Trevor Zegras, he's got some kind of Greek going on, some I don't know if you call it mythology, but it almost looks like some kind of a goddess. And let's see what else he's got. Just looking at it right here. Yeah, the one on his forehead has got some kind of like wings, but it's almost like kind of one of those Greek statues just on the inside of his forearm. So that's pretty cool. What else? We're just coming through here. Yeah, with the pictures, it's hard to tell here, but nonetheless, they're well done, and yeah, I think they're pretty rad. Moving on to Tyler Sagan was another part of that message. Sagan had his last name on the back of his arm since pretty much draft day. I remember draft, the whole because we were in the same draft. So he's got Sagan down the back of his tricep there, and I remember that one from the time we were getting drafted. So he's had that for quite some time. That's probably one of his first ones. Yeah, he's got a lion on his chest. He's got both full sleeves. He's got a lot of ink. He's kind of like myself. But yeah, what is that? It's almost like a wolf too. So he's got a wolf on the chest. He's got a clock on the inside of his forearm there. That's another one. But all around, yeah, pretty money. It suits him. Kind of meaner, kind of tougher. So I can respect that. I can respect that. And he's certainly got the game to back it up. Jamie Benn. So I've always admired just how much of a stud Jamie Benn is. He always has been. His hair is always just kind of McGregor style, the high fade, classy. No Bucky in warm-ups. You can see that. It's just always well done, his hair. And he's got one full sleeve. He's got a few other things on his other forearm. It seemed like a recent one is a tiger on his other inside forearm, but he's got a skull on his full sleeve. Got some smoke coming out of the bicep area. He's got a rose on his almost inside arm there, right above the forearm, and he's just got some just badass tattoos, and he's got some flames in there. But between his hair, between the well executed tattoos, he's just an overall all around stud, and he can fight, he can score. He just makes plays. He just gets it all done, and he looks darn sharp doing it all. So Z, being the homer that I am, some money tattoos, has the game to back it up. But Central Division, still in the Western Conference. Dallas Stars just lost them. It's a tough break in overtime. Jamie Benn, just as a hockey fan, regardless if they're playing well, they're at the top of their game. Look, that loss stings, but Jamie Benn, you can always respect how he's played, and he's been their captain for quite some time, and of course, guys like him in that dressing room. So I can dig his tattoos. He's up there as far as the players you mentioned. Erik Karlsson. Erik Karlsson's got an eye on the inside of his tricep. He's got kind of like a Joker looking character there on his inside forearm. He's got some money tattoos too. Good looking guy, money tattoos, can get it done on the ice. Has made a lot of money in his career. He's just got a lot of good things going for him, Erik Karlsson. So I can respect that. Ty Domi, for the players you mentioned there, he's got the rose. Quality, okay. One of the cooler ones is the diabetes one on the inside of his forearm there. He's got a skull too on his bicep, inside arm bicep area. Quality so. Most of them are a tad bit cliche. Like I said, the coolest one, probably the most important to him. I'm assuming the diabetes. Of course, he has diabetes and has managed it well. But some of the other guys you mentioned there, the Benns of the world, Zegras has got some money ones too. For me, you mentioned who is my favorite. My favorite of all time is defenseman Mike Green. He's had some money tattoos. Just looking at a picture of him holding his baby here, and they're just all well done. He's got an owl with a kind of a top hat going on, in a kind of old Irish, old English kind of McGregor style. For that one, he's got this nice little cross with I think that's a poppy in it, kind of going in all different directions. But nice mixture of color, just suits him. And the fact that he was one of the innovators, he was one of the first guys to just get absolutely yadded, and that puts my respect for him at a whole nother level. He's got a cool dude with a beard. So nice mixture of classy, cartoonish. It all goes together. He's got the both hands blasted, which is just it's just you like to see it. And the fact that he had such a just a brilliant career, did a lot of good things with that Washington Capitals organization. Just whether it's producing at the rate he did, just power plays, Ovi, just during the time that Ovi was scoring some of the most spectacular goals. He was a big part of kind of that time period within that organization, and he was just a stud. And he's a stud off the ice, stud on the ice, and you really love to see it. Um, I hate J Money that you had to mention this. My first tattoo ever was Style and Grace. It was just brutal. It was brutal. Got it in Long Beach, and just a forced move, forced decision. Style and Grace. What the heck was I thinking? I don't know. I got it removed since. Didn't look good. Now it's removed. I've turned that chapter. That chapter's complete. Turn the page, and we're done with that one. So you had to ask. Yes, Style and Grace. Remember Ski? The guys give me a hard time for it, rightfully so. Just embarrassing. I don't know what the meaning was. Still don't. Guys were giving me a hard time. I suffered the consequences there. And I was probably chirping myself, too. I remember Ski chirping me. What the heck does that mean? I don't know, Ski. Gatsy chirping me. I just, it was an interesting time. And that was that. But thanks for asking, J Money. Thanks for sending us in the message. Austin is the next one. Next message here. Austin Pettis played in the NFL and has a huge Mighty Ducks logo tatted on his neck. Poppy has a lot now. Dumba does too. Fun fact, Josh Manson gave a tattoo once, and it was with Gus. Yes, we mentioned a little bit earlier. Going back to that Austin Pettis tattoo, Anaheim native Austin Pettis, former NFL player, and I just remember that was a big story during one of the games I was watching. They had that full shot on the TV of his back of his neck, and that the Ducks tattoo was coming out, or kind of you could really see it, just right on top over his jersey, and of course his shoulder pads there, and very prominent. You could see it, and that was a cool part. I mean, that's, you want to talk about rep, and that's some serious representation there, shown by Austin Pettis, just having the original Ducks logo just blasted. It's not like it's small; it's huge. So you could see it showing out. Appreciate you, Austin Pettis, what you did in your time in the NFL, and Poppy. Yeah, Poppy does. Poppy has some nice ones too. Well executed. Just taking a look at Poppy's. He's got a lion with a crown on the shoulder. He's got a cross with some clouds. He's kind of dipping into the Greek goddess mythology, whatever you want to call it. Kind of got a statue on the inside of the arm, right below the cross, and then got a little bit tree. Sometimes this tree can get kind of out of hand, especially if it's poorly done. Kind of looks kind of cringy, but he looks that one's done nice, and it kind of blends in with everything, so you can hardly tell. But it just all goes together, and he's a stud on the ice, stud off of it. I'm sure that's not the last we'll see of Poppy getting tattoos. You mentioned Matt Dumba. That very much could be Dumba's here. Close second to maybe Jamie Benn. He's got some cards on the forearm, kind of the outside. He's just got some cool stuff. A couple wings, one on his inside bicep, tricep area there, right on the inside arm. And just former Western Hockey Leaguer. He was devastating. He was devastating in his time in the WHL. Just laying the body each and every shift and just blowing guys up anytime he had the opportunity to do so. But he looks mean. He looks meaner with the nice tats he's got going on, and you just appreciate his game. He can get it done offensively. He's a smooth skater, powerful. Yeah, I just there's just a lot of guys with some quality tattoos. One guy can chirp. That former buddy of mine. I just haven't spoke to him in a while. is Kirill Kabanov. He was drafted with him. He dropped quite a bit. He was highly ranked. Went to the Quebec Major Junior League. Was drafted by the Islanders. Was supposed to be a first round pick. Highly talented. Had some character questions throughout the draft process. Not nothing too big, but I always thought, and I'm gonna message him after just tuning this episode. Give him a little chirp. I haven't spoke to him in so long. So, Kirill, appreciate you, but you had the worst tattoos, bro. I think you had the alphabet. I think you had the Russian alphabet going down his arm. He's got a couple playing cards. They're not maybe quite to the intricacy as Dumba's was, but Krill, you got some terrible tattoos, bro. And I'm gonna make sure you tune in this episode and let you know. Just you got better. You got better. There, it's kind of like he's Russian tats. He went to some just bottom of the barrel Russian tattoo shop, and it just looks like it. So, Cadell, I appreciate you, but you got some brutal tattoos, bro. I always appreciated him early on getting the neck tattoo, rocking the helmet. I went to actually training camp, of course, when I signed with the New York Rangers, and he had a great year in Sweden. He just absolutely popped off. He got invited to the New York Rangers training camp. So that was the last time I saw him. She went out to dinner. He was just a funny individual. We played some Russian exhibition games when I was with LA Hockey Club for all my SoCal hockey players and appreciators out there who knew the SoCal landscape back in the day. It was a mom and pop club, LA Hockey Club, but we had a Russian exhibition series where they came over and played 3 or 4 games. Oh, it was not pretty. I think we beat them. Just remember one of their players, one of their better players, just flipping off the whole crowd after we got done just roasting them. So yeah, some great times there, and yeah, that's kind of my overall take regarding the messages. We continue to love all your messages, voicemails. We appreciate them. Another guy that has a tattoo that I just appreciate is Tyler Bertuzzi. He's got the the Team Canada, the Hockey Canada logo on his chest, and that's interesting because, well, it's poorly done, but it's so Canadian of him to do that. I've had more teammates in the past with that Hockey Canada logo than I have not had in the past. And that's saying something. Like a lot of my WHL, my Medicine Hat teammates, they all had that logo. And here he is. And Tyler Bertuzzi is just Tyler Bertuzzi. You just got to appreciate it. He's got the missing tooth. He's got the long hair. It's just a terrible tattoo, but he's a guy that can rock it well. And you just appreciate that. You just appreciate, that those first tattoos when you're 17, 18, you grow out of them and then they just look terrible. That's what, but you just appreciate it. And it brings me back to my time in juniors where more teammates had that Hockey Canada logo than not. And it's just such a Canadian thing to do. So that pretty much wraps that up. Let you know what has made me a little bit happier in this situation, getting blasted in the Kariya studio with a little bit of pain. So that the Kings, of course, and their struggles. So as we start to wrap this episode up, talk a little bit about what Gus is tattooing on me today. So we'll get right into it. Mallory McMallard. A little info on Mallory. Mallory McMallard. Mighty Ducks movie, The First Face Off. So that's Mallory's feature film. Some of the shows, of course, the most well-known, the Mighty Ducks animated series. The voice of Mallory, Jennifer Hale. So that's an interesting fact there. This is Mallory's occupation. Of course, hockey player. Also a soldier and a crime fighter. hometown Puck World in Anaheim, California. Some of the interest for Mallory: fighting crime, helping people, shopping at the mall. I love that. Fighting crime, helping people. So that's kind of all ties together. Of course, the Mighty Ducks. But what Mallory stood for, really. Some dislikes of Mallory: immaturity. So do I. Don't like immature people who just can't seem to grow up. Machines, freezing cold weather. I don't like the cold either. Like sometimes some of these rinks are just deathly cold. And it just reminds me of my mom, Patricia. Just she would always get bundled up. Some of those times at the ice rink back in the day, dropping me off, and if she stood in that ice rink, she had the zipped up hood on. And it's like me. Some of these rinks get just too cold. Both my son and daughter do not play hockey, so my time in the rink is limited to some of my sessions that I run still, summer camps, of course, and so look, I'm still in the rink. Some I can really bear. Some of those colder ones, it's tough for me. So, Mallory, powers and abilities: speed, of course, agility, shooting. Of course, I'll put this on all of our social media platforms. Mallory's got a little gun she's holding, so I thought it was kind of neat, kind of cool, and still active. We'll always be active. We appreciate you, Mallory. And yeah, that's what I'm getting blasted on me today by Gus. It's been fun so far. And yeah, I just, Gus, I'm going to bring you back in here and close things out. I mean, what are you looking forward to this just Ducks organization in a whole? Where we're at now, what are a few things that you're looking forward to?
Oh man, there's quite a bit. I would say everything from obviously players, prospects, development, watching them grow, but also just like the community, the hockey community in general, and just like Orange County. Seeing the Ducks do so much for the community is always great. Even doing things like what I'm doing, like being a part of things that are a little more unique, but a part of the culture. Um, the community is really just, I don't know, it seems like it's just grown tighter and tighter, and everyone seems to know everyone, and that always makes it exciting and fun to go to games and just run into people that you can talk to or meet new friends or whatever. I love to see the growth. That's one of my favorite things.
Love it. You heard it. Gus Jaimes from Torch Tattoo. And Gus, last thing before we close out here, where can we find you? Of course, I just mentioned Torch Tattoo. You can I'm assuming walk-ins, right? Walk-ins accepted, Gus?
We do walk-ins when we can. We are mostly appointment. It's more it's just a little easier these days, but we can do walk-ins if we can. If not, we can book something for you, no problem. So you could find me over there for sure.
Okay, and I know you're on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is at Gus GUSJ714.
Okay, cool. And Torch Tattoo, is that
yeah, at Torch Tattoo.
Perfect. Easy peasy. Thanks for tuning in to yet another episode of Eat 'em Up, and we'll see you soon.